Difficulty options are included in games to widen their appeal. Regardless of your skill level, difficulty modes let you choose the level of challenge you want. But how do you know which option that is? The first thing you know about each difficulty option is its name, and that immediately tells you what to expect from it. This video is all about how games use difficulty names to guide players in the right direction. Let's dive into it. First and foremost, the names of each difficulty mode tell players in words what to expect from them. A mode called Easy will probably have room for players to make mistakes and learn the game at their own pace, while a mode called Hard will probably be more challenging and expect players to already have some experience. The most commonly available option though, more than Easy or Hard, is Normal. In any selection where there's a normal mode, or something similarly named, most first-time players will gravitate towards that option because the name Normal tells them that it's the most standard way to play the game, without any extra handicaps. Knowing this, developers will often name whatever difficulty is best suited for most players to try first, Normal. This is often the case in games where the name Normal is allocated to the lowest difficulty mode. Elite, hardcore gamers don't want to play Easy mode. That's for babies, but Normal is acceptable for a first playthrough. Games that give players the opportunity to change difficulty mid-campaign are more likely to place Normal closer to the middle of the spectrum, so more players will choose to start there and increase or decrease the difficulty appropriately according to their experience. Super Smash Bros. Brawl uses Normal as the second option of 5. This is clever because the name Normal attracts new players, but its placement just out of the middle space gently nudges players to aim higher, and maybe find out that they're more capable than they thought. While the name Normal mode is used to attract players towards it as their initial difficulty choice, the opposite applies to exaggerated difficulty names like Insane or Extreme. These names are given to highly challenging modes that definitely shouldn't be chosen by new players. The Fire Emblem series uses a variety of intimidating names for its highest difficulty options, like Lunatic, Merciless, Maddening, and more. These names are perfect for dissuading casual players, while also alluring those insane enough to actually enjoy these modes. Fire Emblem also contains a great example of why appropriate difficulty names are important. In Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn, the difficulty modes originally named Normal, Hard, and Maniac were renamed in the English version to Easy, Normal, and Hard, despite the modes themselves being unchanged. This created a dissonance between the names of the modes and their actual challenge, which led to many players picking difficulties beyond their ability and finding the game unfairly hard. It would seem the developers learned a lot from this mishap, because the very next entry, Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon, has a very specific difficulty selection. There are 6 total difficulty modes, but you don't see them all at once. You first pick between just Normal and Hard, and you won't see any of the options above that until you click on Hard. The division of 6 difficulty modes into 2 categories encourages new players to go straight to Normal, the intended tutorial mode, without confusing them with an excessive number of options. Quite the improvement from difficulty modes that are literally labeled incorrectly. Difficulty names are sometimes used to paint games' hardest modes as goals to aspire to, rather than exclusive challenges. Bullet Heaven 2's highest difficulty mode is aptly named Heavenly. This is much more attractive than the traditionally sadistic difficulty names of many bullet hells, and it encourages players to reach the level where they can handle it rather than pushing them away. Using difficulty names to push players higher comes into play in a completely different way in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's classic mode. Difficulty is on an abstract numerical scale that invites players to experiment rather than only playing on one level. This is important because the difficulty doesn't stay where you started. It increases after each round based on how well players perform. The lack of traditional difficulty names pushes players to go as high as they can without dissuading them with names that sound too hard. And those are all the little details of difficulty names in games I want to talk about. This is my first video discussing general game design, so if it's kept your attention to the end, you should subscribe to let me know that you want to see more. I've only covered how games I'm familiar with name their difficulties, but I know there's a lot more creativity out there. So comment below about other games that make interesting use of difficulty names.